Welcome back to VFD System Expert. This is your channel and you can ask any questions regarding VFD, motor system and drives. So this session is about the semiconductors. So this we will be dedicated to thyristors. Coming session we will be seeing about the IGBT and IGCTs. So let's go through and see what we have in the thyristors. So thyristors is the breakthrough technology in the power electronics. So it has really developed so many interesting facts in here. So in 1950, William Shockley has proposed about the silicon control rectifier, or the thyristors we call it in the short. In 1957, the first product got developed. And in 1959, it really came into the market to commercial use. And the basic till now what we're using for higher power capacities, mainly HVDC transmission or very high rating power converters. This is one of the example of high power thyristors. How it looks, what you see in the front, that is nothing but a heat sink. And when we open this kind of thyristors, what we see in this are different layer of heat sinks, and the green color part what we see is nothing. This part. This is a silicon. And when we see this open a semiconductor part, when you put under the microscope, what we will get is a 4 junction or kind of 2 diode, p-type and n-type semiconductor. So this is basically inside a silicon wafer. Let's see something about this. What is exactly what we got it there. So we have p-type and n-type materials, different silicon materials. Silicon itself is not a great conductor, so we have to have some p and n-type material inside it. In high power semiconductors, this n-based region is highly resistive, and to make this highly resistive, why we have to make it? Because we have to block a lot forward voltage when it is connected. We will come to know in the next few minutes what are these things, forward voltages. When you apply forward voltage, it has to block it. It has the responsibility to block it. And to have this is a highly resistive, and to make it highly resistive, and if we make it high resistive, then it will be there will be high conduction losses. To reduce those conduction losses, these n-based materials are doped by aluminum or gallium in both the surface coated to p-doped region. So this will form a deep junction in the n-base. So it will reduce all our state conduction losses. When we connect n and p junction, it develops certain barrier. This barrier is nothing but, we'll see when I will show you small the diode example, so then we'll come to know exactly. Basically, when we connect these 2 diodes kind of thing in series, we will have 3 barriers. So barriers we cannot conduct directly, so we have to clear this barrier first. So basically, when we connect p and n-type material, so this becomes depends on the material, but normally this barrier voltage is 0.7 volt for silicon, if I am not wrong, and 0.3 volt of the magnesium. So this depends on the which kind of material we are using, but there are different barrier voltages. So I will just give you a small brief before we go to the thyristor, like this NP junction diode. So as we discussed, silicons are not a great conductor, so we have to dope p-type and n-type material into it. This process is called doping. So when we have p-type and n-type material, the silicon, so electrons will, or it's kind of a natural process, electrons start moving attraction to the hole, and then once it is finished, so it will form a kind of a barrier, so that no more electrons can travel to the holes. So if we connect a forward bias to it, and this forward bias voltage is higher than the barrier voltage, what we discussed, maybe more than 0.7 volt a barrier voltage, then it will electron again start conducting and current start flowing it. This same phenomena will apply to the thyristors. So in case of thyristors, here now what we have, the positive side we call it anode, negative side we call it cathode, and as of now we are not connecting anything to the gate. So we have the battery, this is DC source, and we have connected positive to the anode and negative to the cathode. What we see right hand side, this is a VI characteristic when we apply certain voltage to the thyristors. So we have started the switch, and now the positive side is going and negative side is going to the cathode. We see the junction J1 and J2 are now disappeared, so the electrons between this PN region and this PN region can travel from one place to other, but since J2 is reverse bias, there is no current flow. So basically thyristor is in stop or off condition. So till how much it can be off? when we have this forward looking voltage. Up till this condition, thyristor cannot be turned on. If you put more voltage over here, it may start conduct, but it can also fail. Now let's see if we switch over the supply. So when now I have connected anode to negative and cathode to positive. So cathode voltage is higher. In this case, what happens, since cathode voltage is higher, it can push some electrons over here. Now J2 start conducting, but J1 and J2 start get conducting, but J1 and J3 are still in the, you can see it again, J1 and J3 are still on the reverse bias. So at any given instance, what we see, whether you connect positive to the anode or negative to the anode, one of your junction in the reverse bias. So basically you cannot conduct. So the best idea to get conduction is get the positive cycle to the anode and negative cycle to the cathode. So we have only one junction to pass or one barrier to pass. So that's the idea. So in this case, now we are giving supply to the gate as well. So gate also we have connected a DC source, and the thyristor also we have connected to the DC source. What we see here, the different trends, VI characteristic, what we see till now. So at certain range it can block the forward voltage, at certain range it can block the reverse voltage. Both the sides, if you give the very high voltage, it may damage the thyristor, it may conduct and it may damage the thyristor. What we see in the dial gauge is the for gate current. So this gate current limitation is, it's not that you apply any gate current and that will start conducting. There are certain different, again depends on the different material, but there is something for current called the holding current. So if you apply a gate current more than the holding current, then your thyristor start getting conducted. What we see here now, we have applied the again positive and negative, positive to anode, negative cathode, and small gate current as well. Still the J2 barrier is still there. So now we are increasing the gate current. So when gate current will reach to the holding current, still it has not reached the holding current. So now we are again increasing. Now it has reached to the holding current. So once it reached to the holding current, we see the J2 will disappear soon. Now J2 has disappeared, and still we have the now more current. You can see the current start flowing through the circuit. So now this is the thyristor is turned on condition. So in this case, now if we switch off the gate, if we apply the 0 voltage to the gate or 0 current from the gate, there is no effect. So thyristor will be keep conducting in the same fashion. Now this is a turn on condition. So how we turn off the thyristor? Turning off thyristor, it depends on what is connected to the thyristor, AC source or DC source. If you connect AC source, what we see on the top, in AC source the negative cycle thyristor will naturally commute or shut off or what is the commutation or natural commutation. If you connect DC source, in this case we have to have a forced commutation or a source or load commutation. Source commutation will not help in case of a DC. So commutation itself is a big topic, but after generation, after GTO and IGCTs, this is now not very so much relevant, but commutation I can describe in a separate video. If you want a video on commutation, let me know in the comment section. So rating of thyristor, we will not talk much about it. What we see here, I have given some brief about what kind of voltage ratings. Thyristor basically designed on the voltage base, current base, and its gate current. So when we say about the voltage rating, how much it can block on the forward side, how much it can block on the reverse side, how much the safety factor it has, and how much repetitive reverse voltage it can withstand. That's very important part. And the turn on and turn off timings. This is one sample sheet for our thyristor, how the data sheet look like. It's again the same value what we see the back side, same values will get it here of any of the thyristor data sheet. So you need to know based on your application what is the maximum voltage you will going to apply when it's a forward bias and what is the maximum in the reverse bias. So it should not conduct falsely, it will conduct only when you have the gate current and how much your conduction losses and how much gate current it required. So hope you have enjoyed listening this video. If you so, do like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to comment and share to your colleagues. Thank you so much.